I've just turned on the recording.
Uh-oh.
How do you spell your first name? I didn't get, there it is on the screen.
ISHA, yep.
Okay, great, thanks.
All right. Well, I'm not. So we got a lot to cover. So I'm not going to spend too much time giving you an overview on Citizenserve, but I'll just say a couple things. So, so as a company, we started 18 years ago. We started as a software as a service from the very beginning. 18 years ago, people didn't really understand what a software as a service was. Today, it's really what everybody's looking for, other than like, you know, the big cities like the Cincinnatis and the, you know, people who have invested a lot of dollars in infrastructure, but the large city. But we don't really target the large cities. We got close to 400 customers around the country now, and the other thing we started with back then that's still very unique today is we've always had a complete support model for our customers. So when we, you know, decided to, you know, be a software as a service, we took the service piece very, very, very seriously. We realized that it's hard for, you know, a municipality to get budget to make changes to the configuration or the things you want to have, you know, done differently in the software over time. And so we've always just offered that. So anything you need to have once you're implemented, anything other than converting data or integrating with another system, we're going to do for you. So if you want a, you know, a new report, or you want to have change your fees, you want to have somebody trained that came in to replace someone else, you want a new metric, you want to change things about your workflow or your email templates, whatever you need to have done, we're going to do it for you, and there's never a charge, and we get it done very quickly. So we get about 85% of the things we get asked each day done that same day. Other 15% would be like, hey, I need to change all my fees across all my permits. You know, that's not going to be done that day. Or I need to add 5 new types of permits. That's not going to be done that day. But those things usually happen within a week or two, depending on the complexity of it. So, you know, we have a lot of customers in Ohio. We do kind of in your area. I think we got close to 8 different customers in the First Suburbs Development Council that we work with. I encourage you to talk to them. They'll tell you, you know, about kind of how flexible our software is, and they will definitely tell you about our service and how that's like nobody else offers. So we also put a lot of information out on our website. You know, our pricing's out here. Nobody really does that. We have demos under the demo tab, a lot of content out here. So if you want, you know more about how permitting overview works or how workflow routing works, there's some shorter professionally done demos here. And then in the live demo tab, there's a couple hundred other demos that are out there that are longer. These were more like scripted type of things. And so we put a lot of content out for people to kind of see what we do and understand about us. One reason we do this is we don't have any salespeople here. No one here is on a commission or bonus. We've never thought that was the right way to align ourselves with our customers in the very beginning, to have some guy that has a commission, you know, telling you what the software can and can't do. I'm a 30-year project manager. I'm here to make sure that, you know, what you need, that you're a good match for us and we're a good match for you. And so that's kind of my job now. And then I work with our customers once they go live, you know, make sure anything else they need, I'm here 24 hours a day. I'll answer my phone if there's something that's up and you need something. So we really do work very differently with our customers. And one of the reasons that we're able to do that is kind of how we have grown our business. So we've been very responsible in how we've done that. We've been profitable for the last 14 years. We've never had any debt. We've never had any external investors. So we're not doing things to make quarterly financial goals. We're not doing things to, you know, pay back some venture capitalists that plowed a bunch of money into us. Now he wants his money back. The only people that tell us what to do are our customers, and we listen to them very carefully. So we like that independence. And I think, you know, if you guys went with us, you would see that difference in us too. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to turn it over to Mission, unless you guys have any questions about us or how we work with our customers that I can answer right now.
I think that's it, except for I'm sure that I think we've talked already before about how you're able to migrate Franklin into Citizenserve.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So all we're going to need to migrate off Franklin is a backup copy of the data. We'll need one to get you an estimate in the beginning. Then we'll need one when we first start doing the information gathering. We'll need another backup before we bring each of the departments live. So
how does that migration work? I mean, is it a really nice migration where you don't have any glitches, or is it full of errors?
kind of all depends on your data and what's out there. With Franklin, it's a very stable relational database. We haven't had any glitches on there, but all the data is different. Kind of depends on how clean the data is in Franklin. But the way that we do it's just like the rest of our implementation. So like we work with you guys, we're going to meet each week. We're going to show you the work we've done. You'll give us feedback. We'll do more work. You'll give us feedback again. We keep going through that until you say that it's right. And the same way when we do the data migration, we'll run the scripts. We'll run the data into Citizenserve. You guys will look at it. If there are changes that you want, that's great. We'll get rid of that data. We'll rewrite the scripts. We'll run it in. We'll do that as many times as it takes.
Is that all in the cost of the migration cost?
Yep.
Like the more you have to tweak it, are we charged?
Nope.
As you're tweaking? No.
We are not charged. It's everything that we do is just a fixed price. So we'll give you a price and we'll run it as many times as it takes until you like the way that it is. I mean, we don't make money off data migrations. We don't really make money off of conversions. Our goal is that you like us and every year you re-up with us, so, we want things working for you. And we want, when your renewal comes every year, we want you to say, yep, my data isn't here the way that I want. Everyone's trained. I got all the changes that I want, and it's time for me to re-up again. And it's our responsibility to earn your business for the next year.
So I imagine Misha is going to go over the process with us of how, naturally our interests are for doing building permits, contractor registrations, business occupancies, rental registrations. Anybody can pipe in. Billing.
Yep.
Reports.
Business occupancy generations, rental property reports, all that.
Yep. And we're gonna show as much as that. Do you guys have time after this meeting? Because we're gonna run a little. We're getting a little late start. What does your guys' schedule look like?
We could follow up later, like not today,
Okay.
but maybe a little bit down the week. I mean, I don't know if somebody.
How much time do we have today? How much time when do we
I don't
have
have
to
a lot of
stop?
time
We
today.
had scheduled
I have
it for-
a few hours that I've
Okay,
got booked,
all right.
and then after that, I'm
Okay,
slammed. Right
all
now.
right. We might have to schedule it for the beginning of next week.
That's
Yeah,
fine. So let's get as much done as we can today, and then we'll.
Okay.
What we don't get done, we'll reschedule and show you again. Then I'm here to kind of answer questions in terms of processes, integrations, or any of those things that you have along the way too. So take it
right.
away, Ms. Shaw.
Let's jump in. So if you have questions, please ask while you go. We know that on our homepage, we offer all of these modules. So we have one for licensing, one for code, one for permitting, one for planning and zoning, one for request tracking, and one for our online portal. We want to show you as many of these modules as we can get through today, but we know that it's a lot of information to take in. So I'm going to try to talk very calmly, but show you a lot of information. Your key take home today is that we're very configurable, and that we can set your site up for you in many different ways. And as we do our implementation process, we'll iterate with you over those ways to figure out the best method for you. So we're actually going to start our demo over here on the online portal. And the first thing we want to talk about is contractor registration. So I'm going to leave the Citizenserve webpage, and this is our demonstration portal. It's for the town of Buena Vista. Now, the portal is geared for your constituents. So while you're here, imagine putting on a hard hat. You're going to be acting as a contractor, not as a member of the Richmond Heights Building Department staff. So here you have your hard hat on. You're coming to the site. You want to figure out how to do a building permit. And the portal is configurable. So you get your own logo. We can change the content. This portal is set up to show all of our electronic services: licensing, permitting, development projects, complaints, and requests. But if you want to update images, we can do that. If you weren't going to go live with complaints or requests, we simply take that off the portal. So you're only going to show the services that you want to offer. In addition to this home page where you get to apply or learn more, we want to provide your constituents with as much content as they need to get through the process themselves. So we have a bunch of service pages. If we go visit the permit services page, this gives you an idea of some of the underlying content that we want to configure to offer your services and information about your processes. So your constituents can come here and learn about whether or not they need a permit. And again, this is a configurable page. We can list the things that don't require a permit and things that do. And when your constituents are all read up on the site, they can go to Submittal Requirements. And again, it's another configurable page where we can link to your actual Submittal Requirements documents. So in this case, I clicked on this building permit submittal requirement. It pulls up a PDF file. But if your requirements are on your website, we can point there. If they're on a state site or somewhere else, we can point there as well. So again, just another way to get information out to your constituents. Let's see, let's close all of these tabs. So the next step would be for your users to apply now, but I want to show you a couple other features. Namely, when you put your applications online, you can make them available for your constituents to search. We have a search button up at the top of the screen. They just need to pick the file type they want. They could put in additional filter information, but I'll just submit. This is going to pull in all the permits that have been filed in the system. Some jurisdictions love how much information this provides. Some jurisdictions don't want to or can't present this information. And if you're in that camp, that's okay. We would simply hide the search feature. It wouldn't display on the navigation tab up here. And we can write you custom reports. That's all part of your subscription. I'll take you to the reports tab to show you some examples. We can make your reports include anything that's in the database. We're going to go to this map report. This is to show code complaints that have been submitted in the system. We just put in a date range, and I'm going to go all the way back to 2019, and we'll go through to today. And when we submit, it's going to pull in all of those code complaints that have been filed. Now, you can see from this is Google Maps on the back end. So we get to use all the features. I can click and drag to recenter. We can zoom in on this cluster of pins here. Let's go a little further. We can go to the satellite view, and we can even go to street view and take a look at the neighborhood. So this is just one example of a map report. Now, what else you get in a map report is with each of these pins, you can click the pin and it pulls up additional information. This would be the data elements in your report. So this is an example for you to show you what's a type of report we can run. We also do pie charts and list reports. And on the staff side, we can do your mass merge reports as well. Now, the My Accounts tab is where a user would log in if they already had an account. You can see I do have accounts, but this is also how your contractors are going to register. I promise we're going to come back for this and we'll do contractor registration. I want to show you just a couple other features of the portal. One is this Contacts tab. This is just a place where we can dump your departmental information so that we can present this information to your constituents. We're trying to save you a contact if we can. And you can change, of course, the look and feel. We can change the images. It's all highly configurable. This is just done through HTML. So I also want to show you another feature that we've implemented, and that this is another way to try to answer your constituents' questions. If they come to the portal and they can't remember their login, they can just type in their name and their email address. It's bad if I can't type and talk at the same time. So I'm just logging into the system. That way, Citizenserve support will know how to contact me. So if I've come to the portal and I can't remember my login, I can click this little button and I can say hi to support. I'm actually sending this message. It's going to our support team. You can see Brandy was here last week. Jake is on, Diego. More Jake. So all of these people are real people that work our support desk. They do this one day a week, and then the rest of the week they're doing implementations. So I'm expecting to see them chime in any second now, but because of our time, I'm just going to let you know that these people are real and that they're here to answer your constituents' questions. Now, if they ask a question like, why am I getting charged $49.16 on this permit? We're going to want to contact at Richmond Heights to answer those sorts of questions, but we can handle the technical stuff. Okay, last cool thing about the portal is that it's built with HTML5 responsive design. That's a fancy term that means if you access the site from your iPhone, the content on the site is going to shrink to fit your screen in a reasonable way. And this is important now because with all of the devices that can serve the internet, you don't want your citizens to be forced to use a specific device like a large screen. So with this kind of build, they can navigate through with this finger clickable menu. They can even come down and apply for a permit. And then I promise we're not going to do the whole thing, say, from an iPhone screen, but hopefully you'll find that service useful. So let's talk about contractor registration, right? If I have an account, I can log in, but new users can register. Richmond Heights, do you charge a fee for your contractors to register, or do you just need to track their information?
No, we charge a fee.
Okay, so this registration form is what every user needs to complete to log into the system. I think what I'll do, and this one doesn't charge fees, like this just gets you a portal account so that the system knows who you are and they can bundle all of your services together. So maybe I'll just show this to you. In this case, this is a contractor registration form. We get to collect all of this information about these users. So anything with a red hash on it is a required field. So they put in their email address. They can put in their name and address if they want. They have to put in their business information. They have to provide at least one phone number. And then they set themselves a username, which generally defaults to their email address, and then a password. And then we can collect a bunch of additional information related to their contractor status. So workers' comp information, liability, and additional contractor information. So this is one type of registration. If we switch to, say, citizen, it's going to change the requirements on these fields. Same data, right? There's still business information listed here if they want to provide that, but there's no additional contractor information. So with our registrations, you can determine the types that you want. You can tell us which fields should be required, and we set that up for you. Because you want to charge a fee, I'm going to show you that under the licensing segment. So right now, we're just going to go ahead and log in with my existing registration. And now I'm going to apply for a permit. So I'm going to click this button to apply, and it's taken me to the permit application. So on a permit, we'll define as many permits as you need. In this case, we have about 8 or 9 defined here. I'm going to pick my building permit, and then I'm going to pick my subtype. And remember, you're not charged for each permit that we create. You're just part of the subscription. So when you pay your subscription, you can, if you approve cannabis and you need a cannabis permit, we can build that for you when you need it. So let's do a new single family home for.
Is that an extra charge? I'm sorry to interrupt. That's an extra charge, or is that part of the service?
Nope, it's part of the service.
Oh, okay, that's good. I hate taking docs. Okay.
All right, so we have the ability to tie this application with an existing project. So if this were a house going in on a subdivision, the contractor could enter that subdivision number here. And if they didn't have it, they could put in the address to find the file. In this case, we're just going to do a new project for this demo. Now, when we go into the address field, we want to load your best source of parcel data. So I'm going to put in 9 Baker. I really want 941 Bakersfield. But when I put in that limited amount, it pulls up anything in the database that matches that criteria. I can pick the address I want, and you can see we've got some parcel data here. Now it pulls in property ownership information.
Now, so I have a question about that. Yeah. If it's pulling in the parcel numbers and so forth, is it pulling them from the auditor's office? Or is this something we have to initially put in for a piece of property?
Yeah, we're going to pull that information from wherever your best source is. Do you guys have your own GIS system, or is everything with the county auditor?
County GIS.
Yep, we'll pull that in from the county GIS. We'll pull it in as frequently as it makes sense. If they update it nightly, we'll pull it in nightly. If it's, if they do every couple of weeks, then we'll pull it in every couple of weeks.
Thanks, Ray. So now that we've entered our address information, the rest of the application has loaded. So this is all the stuff that's configurable. What I'm showing you is our demo building permit file. But if you don't have these questions on your permit, don't worry. We take your current permit and we build it into the system. So you ask only the questions that your constituents need to answer. So in this case, only the red fields are required. So I'm going to skip the one that says, are you installing a swimming pool or spa? So I'm going to pick, say, one structure to be built or modified, and that displays this information. Now, this is an example of a dynamic field. This is one custom field type that we use to build your application. And in this case, if you pick a different entry, you get different results. So now if I pick 3 structures, you can see that I have data entry for 3 structures. So again, we want to just ask your constituents the information that they need to provide. We don't want to have to present them with data that they'll skip over. So for our one structure, let's put in some occupancy type. Oh, I really want R3. And how about a construction type and then some square footage? And how about construction cost. We have this little draw button. This is another custom field type. If I click on it, I can make a drawing of what my proposed site is going to look like. So here's our house, not to scale, and here's our property line, and I can click save.
Right.
This was a customer request, and it's available as a field type. Now, we are integrated with Contractor Licensing. This would be true. We would set up your registrations the same way. So when I type in Smith, it's going to pull up all of the active licenses. So I can pick the Smith that is the contractor that's going to do my construction. And now we can also integrate with our registrations. I showed you the registration form on the portal. So when I type Smith into this field for the subcontractor, I get a different set of users, and we can access your users in multiple ways. And we can split them out by trade if necessary. Now I'm going to upload a site plan. So we will just pull this off of my computer. And then let's do a landscape plan also. Now, with this system, you want to require all of the fields that you need to have when you process an application. In this case, none of these documents are required, but maybe you'd want to require those for your building permits. This lets me do my demos faster this way. So now we are at the bottom of the form and we're ready to submit. There's a box that I can check to say that I agree to these terms and conditions. These can be set up to whatever your attorney says is correct. And then I'll sign. And this is just another signature field. I'm going to sign with my mouse and we will save. And now at the bottom of the file, there's the Save for Later button in case I wasn't quite ready to submit. It would save it in my profile. I could come back and access it and resubmit it later. But right now I'm ready to submit, so I'm going to click this button. It's going to check through all those required fields, make sure everything's good. Gives me this message that my application has been received. And when I click OK, it's going to take me to the payment processor. So we want to generate fees based on your fee structure so that whatever the applicant inputs is what is generated here. And I'll type in that information now. Some jurisdictions don't charge anything at the beginning. Some charge just an application fee. In this case, we're charging a plan review fee now, and then when the permit is approved, we'll charge again, and then we can issue. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this, and now I'm going to jump into my email because the system has been sending notifications through the process, and it will continue to do this. So when our application was submitted, drag this email over. The system sent this online permit application received message. This is the template that is sort of out of the box. This can be uploaded or updated with your logo, different color scheme if you want. And all of this data comes out of the database. So it gives our permit number, the type, these different data fields. And then most importantly, there's this link so the applicant can get back to that portal. And in the system, we just made this payment and the system notified us that that payment went through. So here's our receipt that online payment was received, and here's that payment amount. So we want to communicate with your citizens. We want to give them a breadcrumb trail to get back to the system. And now we've submitted our application, and I want to jump into staff side, but I want to show you what this looks like from the applicant standpoint. So we're going to go view this request. And here at the very top is our Richmond Heights permit. And we'll just click on this link and it opens up the file. So as an applicant, I'm able to look at this project through the whole process, and I can get status updates, not only in email, but by coming to the portal. So I have tools over here. I can edit or pay, request an inspection, upload documents, or leave a message. And then in the center, we see some of those same database fields from the system. And here's an image scraped from Google. Then in the center of the screen, we have these tabs available. So this permit tab is a read-only view of our permit application, all the way down to that little signature ping file. Now, the review tab is going to show the route that's been automatically assigned to this project. We support consecutive and concurrent reviews. And in this case, we have like 17 different steps. Your workflow doesn't have to. This is completely configurable. You can either have no workflow, you can have a minimal workflow, or you can have a complicated workflow. We can help you work through that during the implementation process. So in this case, there's one start date. That means this is the only task that exists. And when this is completed, it's going to trigger the next 5 reviews. And then when all of these are complete, it's going to trigger this review complete activity. We don't have time to go through all of those, but I just wanted to give you a heads up about how this is going to behave down the road. Now, the Documents tab is going to show the documents that have been uploaded. So not only the landscape plan and the site plan that we uploaded, but that drawing that we created and that signature that I created. And then as more emails are generated from staff members, those will appear here as well. And then finally, there is an Inspections tab. This is the placeholder as we, when it comes time to request an inspection, we'll see that inspection history here. Okay, so I've just shown you how to submit an application through the portal, and we're ready to jump to staff side. But before we do that, do you have any questions?
So when you're putting a permit in, or the contractor, whatever, when you're putting the permit in, you said that the information comes automatically from the county auditor's website?
That is correct. Yep.
So
We
we
were going to
don't
have
have-
loaded it in the night before. So any changes that have happened to that, we're going to have that. But at the point that a new permit is created, we're going to copy whatever the most recent parcel information is onto that permit. So when you're looking at that parcel or that permit historically, you're going to see who the ownership was as an example at that point in time.
The reason I was asking, because when we're putting permits in, we have to constantly go to the auditor's website and update that information. And sometimes when the guys are doing violation letters, if that information wasn't updated, it would be going to the old owner. So I was just wondering if your company does it automatically.
Yeah, we're going to do that. There's going to be an integration charge to integrate with the county of $8,000,
Right.
but that's what you're going to get from that is we're going to pull that information in as frequently as makes sense.
Okay.
So is that one initial charge of 8,000 or is that?
It's one initial charge of $8,000. Yep, that's a one-time fee.
Any other questions before we move to the staff side?
Will the plans be loaded up with the permit application? Any blueprints or plans, are those uploaded with it?
Yes, we uploaded the site plan with this application. And you can make that a required field if you need that for every permit that you process.
That's nice.
That is-
Yeah, everything's one place together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I'm understanding this right, I think I am. Every permit that a contractor, let's just say, I don't know, like Able Fence, every permit they pull, all their permits are going to be kind of in their file?
That's correct.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
You bet. And so just to show you, I'm logged in as myself. And when I go to my account, it lists all of the services that I can access, but I can also view my requests. So in this
Okay.
drop down, you can see all the different file types that we have from permits to licenses, development projects, code complaints, and requests. Depending on what I pick, I get my view. Now, your constituents only see what they've submitted, and I do demos, so that's why I have some in every file. Their list probably isn't going to be this long. But here are complaints and here are licenses. So
And you'll see you can see that by the contractor. You can also go to that property and you can see everything that's ever happened on that property. And we'll see that when we get back on the staff side.
right.
Got it.
All right, so let's jump into the staff side. So we're excited to show you the new release. We are beta testing it, so you get to see in advance of what our current customers are going to get to move to. So we're very excited about this. We are logged in as Morgan Katz. She is in the building department. She's the permit clerk, so she's going to take care of that first intake step. What we're looking at here on her dashboard is her task list, and these are some filter bars. So she doesn't have anything. Oh, do you know what? Hold on just a second. I need to refresh my page. This is going to, she's been sitting here in the background, but when you move through the pages, it's going to refresh you automatically, but she's a little puppet here. So now we can see our application here on her inbox, right, on her task list. The filter bars show you that you have 8 overdue and 1 in this pending status. You can use these to filter. So now I can just focus on the things that are due, or if I want to look at my backlog, I can just click this 8 and I get this list, or I can show all. and that'll show everything. Now below her task list, she has a couple of metrics. This is showing the overdue permit review, so she can see which departments, this is conservation in the light blue, they have 21 that are overdue. Public Works has 10 overdue. Engineering has 18 overdue. Planning has 38 overdue, so we know maybe they have a staffing shortage. And the building department has 8. So this is an example of a metric. And the cool thing is it gives you this information just by hovering over. But when you click on one of these links in the ring, you get a listing of all the files that make up that metric. She's in the building department, so she can click on these links. It's going to open up this application in a new browser window, and she's able to do her work in this new tab. And here is what this permit project looks like. So this is the one that we just clicked on from that metric. She can do her work here. I promise we'll talk about that, the permit file more in a second. And when she's done, she can close it down. That initial tab is still up, showing her everything in this metric. So she can go through her whole list this way. Now, we think metrics are really cool and they're configurable. If you want to add one, you just do one over on the left. You click, pardon me, add metric. We have some really cool different types. We have charts, reports, a single item metric, or a trend. So I'm going to pick this single item and I'm going to pick the metric. Let's do a chart. We will do about an inspection audit. Now, we've picked the type we want. We've picked the name of the metric. We just give it a time period. So show me everything for this year. And the scope is whose work is it? And we'll say, give me everybody's. When I click save, it's going to update my home page. And here's my inspection audit metric. So I can see, there's one water heater inspection. I get to see these details. So this is showing you how to add a metric to the page. But if you decide you could really do your job a lot better if you had a little bit more information, you can go to Support Center and you can request a metric. So under Support Center, you've got some options here. I'm going to use this link to submit a new request. Actually, I'm not going to submit it. I'll just show you. I don't actually want to clutter them with a request. So this feature is new. It used to be that you just gave your request a name and then you described it. But now you can say, I have a question related to a specific file, or I need a report, or I want something else. And in something else, you can say, need new metric. And then if you want, you can add an attachment. Here you might want to say, please show all open permits with no activity in the last 20 days. And then we'll create a permit or a metric for you based on that. Now we use SQL to create these metrics, so we can search for anything in the database. This is just an example on how to request help from the Support Center. I'm not going to actually save this, but I do want to show you how you can open up Support Center. It's going to open it in a new tab. It shows you your history of all of the requests that you've submitted. If she had any open, they'd be listed here, and any unread messages would appear here. So we want to be transparent with you. We want to give you access to get the help that's included in your subscription. All right, so we've got a couple other things on the task list, but I think what I'll do is I'm just going to leave it there, and we're going to go in and do some work because I know we have a lot to cover. So on the task list, we've got a link to the task, a link to the project, the due date, the address, and the description, plus our little status over here. I'm going to click on the review task. That's what she's going to start with, right? She needs to check on this application, make sure it's complete. This has opened us up to the permit project, and we're on the reviews tab. It's blue. Everything that's inactive is grayed out. So she wants to take a look at the application, and because we're browser-based, we've given you this little link. This is the more information button. It's going to open up the permit in a new tab. This lets her have this tab open. She can move that window and compare it side to side with her review window. We can just click back and forth. This is what the permit looks like. So we have permit details in red here. This tells us the type, the subtype, the work description, who the applicant is, what our status is in the valuation of the property. So what she's going to do is change the status to under review. This is going to lock down the features that the applicant has on the portal, right? It's going to lock it for editing so that applicant can't submit any new changes. Now we have fees listed here in blue. So plan check fees, permit fees, the total amount due, the amount paid, and that balance due. We have the ability to mark these non-billable if we check this box and recalculate, sorry, it'll clear out those fees if you have those non-billable projects that come through. And then over on the right in the gray, we have dates. So this has been applied for. When it gets approved, these dates will automatically appear when it gets issued, when it expires. All right, and then down below, we have project information. So Morgan has just changed the status so that this is under review, and she's going to take a look at this application. She says that, okay, it's an R3, 2,000 square feet, the estimated construction cost. She can see that there's a contractor assigned and a subcontractor. She can look at the submittal documents. She says, okay, they've uploaded a site plan, but look, there's no plot plan. And look, there's no solid waste disposal form. And look, there's no cost affidavit. What is this applicant doing? So we're going to make a mental note of that, and we can go back and mark that. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about cashiering. In the system, we want to generate your fees automatically. But we also know that there are going to be some special cases. Maybe this permit doesn't require plan review. We can give your staff these boxes. I can uncheck plan review fee. And when I recalculate, it's going to take that fee off of the project. And it's going to take us back down to the bottom. And now, so this checkbox drives that additional fee. Now, this fee was automatically based on the valuation of the property, but we can change that that calculation as well. The other option that's been built in this environment is this estimated construction cost. If you have some other requirement for how your fees are calculated, we work with you to implement that in your fee structure. So I'm going to recalculate this. Look at the total fees here. It's $92.20. By recalculating based on estimated construction cost, it's going to reduce that total amount to like $9,033. There we go. So these are just some ways that you can drive these costs. I'm going to set these back to normal, and I want to show you how to add a manual fee. So this adding a fee is also going to recalculate. So it's going to set it back to our valuation calculation and add that plan review fee. So I'm going to click this barcode. This is the fee tracker, and I'm going to add just a $5 miscellaneous fee. Now, in this environment, we only have a miscellaneous fee, a reinspection fee, and a credit defined. We'll define as many fees as you need so your staff can add the appropriate fees if they need to add them manually. When I click save, this is going to add up.
The majority of the fees are going to be generated by the fields that are on the application itself.
Yes.
It's not like you've got to add every one of those. So if, you know, the square footage is wrong, you change the square footage, it's going to change the fees.
Right. And now I'm going to show you how to take a payment. So I click this credit card icon. Let's say we're going to take a credit card. We can put in the type. We can even put in a note. This is Mish's miscellaneous fee. And we'll put in a $5 payment amount. And you can see it's added the fee at the bottom. And so that's how you do a little bit of cashiering on the project. I'm going to save these changes. It's going to save our status in under review, and that'll update it on the portal side. And now we'll go back to our review and let's make some notes. So we know that we've got some missing documents. I'm going to use the Common Comments book. We want to populate this from your frequently used comments. And we're going to pick this comment that has the following submittal documents were not provided. It's a little shrunk down. There we go. So they've uploaded their site plan and they've uploaded their landscape plan. But they're missing these three documents. So I can modify these on the fly. And when I click save, it's going to add the comment down here. Now, she also wants to look at the documents that have been uploaded. So let's go into the Markup Tool to do that. This is a link to the Markup Tool. This is included in your subscription. This pulls up all the documents that have been uploaded. I'm going to pick the site plan. So the first time that we load the Markup Tool or the document into the system, it's going to cache it to the server. So it takes 20 to 40 seconds to load the document the first time. But then every other user that accesses it gets it cached from the server. So it's very quick. But you can see that we have many tools available. We can add shapes. We can add comments to those shapes. We can do calculations. We can do measurements and do area square footage. She's got some stamps that are available. They're going to load when the document does. And each reviewer is listed. So you can see just her name listed. She's the first reviewer. As each reviewer is added, they'll be listed in this view as well. Every reviewer gets their own layer. So Morgan is able to work in this document, but if other reviewers wanted to review at the same time, they could all be making comments. They'd just be working in their own layer. Okay, so it's loaded. Let's pull in a stamp, maybe this green received stamp. Here you can see it's got the title, the date, her name, and the Town of Buena Vista logo. She's able to add a comment here by clicking on this little add comment button. And then I'm just going to say Morgan reviewed on, what's today, Monday. Ooh, it's still AM for me, so I'm going to put AM. I'm on the West Coast, and I'll click Save. So any comment that we add is going to pull into our review activity, so it's a really powerful tool. So we've just added a stamp. I can rearrange this if I want. I'm just going to leave it in a clear background. We have the ability to place a stamp on every page in a document. I think that's stamp all pages is up here. We can add and edit stamps by using these tools. I'm going to take maybe a circle tool and let's put it around this drain field area. Let's pretend that we're talking about irrigation, and I'm going to pretend because I have irrigation comments up here. So we're able to group your comments with different, in different categories. I'm going to pick my irrigation system comments, and then I can pick any of the comments that apply. And when I save, it's going to add those to this shape. So we've added just a couple comments. We'll do some more as our next reviewer, but I'm going to exit out of this, this document markup tool. It takes me back to my list. So I can go through every document, mark it as received, validate that it's good. And when I hit close, it's going to carry my comments down to my review activity. This means I can put them in a comment sheet or I can email them out to my applicant. And in this case, we are missing some documents, right? So let's notify the applicant that this is missing. We've got this series of tools up at the top. I don't have time to show you them all, but this is the email tool. I can pick the template that I want. In this case, we've written an incomplete application template. And then I can use the drop down to pick my applicant, or I can use the plus sign and I can see all the recipients on the file. So this shows the project contacts here. External contacts in red. This is sort of like your address book in the system. And then internal project contacts. These are all pulled from the reviewers list that we've seen. So you can include staff members as well. I'm just going to include the applicant. And then let's show you the preview of this file. This is just in the standard template. This is configurable with HTML, but this has the project information at the top. Here's the comment that we added about the missing documents. And then this is our site plan markup that's already included. So the template knows to bring in all those comments. If I wanted to edit it on the fly, I could say, thanks. And I could save that so you can make your edits in the HTML editor. And now when I send, it's going to send out to the applicant. Now, in real life, this is a review activity that she's completed. Now, you have some choices. She could say, I'm done, and they need to resubmit. Or she can leave this on her task list and wait to get notification back. Meanwhile, that applicant has received that email. They can go to the portal and they can upload documents at any time. Morgan is going to get notified when that's uploaded, and she could come here and she could say, hey, this status is now corrected. And so we'll pretend that that has happened in the background, and we can give it an approved status. To complete the activity, you need a date and a status. And when we complete this, remember, it's going to complete this activity in our workflow route. So this is saving, and it's taking us back to our review route where we can see we've completed this first step, and now these next 5 are waiting to be completed. That means those 5 reviewers can get in. Actually, there's only 4 reviewers. Liam has 2 tasks. They can all get into the system at the same time, and they can be working their own review process. They're not going to clobber each other, which is a great benefit. So we're going to switch hats. We're going to log out as Morgan, and we're going to log in as Liam. We're going to refresh his homepage because he's been a puppet asleep in the background. But here on his homepage now, we can see these 2 tasks related to our project. So we're going to start with the application review activity. This is going to look a lot like the review activity we just did. This is the basics that we work from. This is out of the box functionality. So this is a review activity. He can go to this review, the common comments book. But what he's going to do is he's going to open up that permit again. He wants to see what kind of a project this is. He's going to take note of the project information. And I can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, let's talk really quick. This is the new release, and one of the features of the new release is that this was also built with HTML5 responsive design. So let me get my blue background here so you can really see. So if you come on a tablet, the content is going to shrink, and now instead of stretching across the page, those that header information is now vertical, so you can scroll down and you see all of that project information. You could come on your cell phone, and again, it's going to shrink and display this information in a logical way. So that is a really cool feature of the new release. I'm going to scroll back up to show you that we're on the main page here. Liam wants to know about the project. So it's R3, 2,000 square feet, one structure, VB construction, 205,000 estimated construction cost. So back in his I just kicked out of my application or my review task. So we're going to go back in there. He is able to just access that review activity, and we will go into this application review task. I was so excited about that. Oh, it's repurposing my window. Okay, that's new. So he's taken note of this. I'm just going to hit the back button, and we're going to go into our review activity, and we're going to go into that markup tool again. So I'm going to click the markup, and remember, it took 20 to 40 seconds for Morgan to load that, but it's loaded in 2 seconds right here on this view. It's already been cached to the server, so he gets it immediately. Now, each reviewer gets their own layer. So when Liam opens it up, it's a blank document, but we know that Morgan made comments, so we can click this box to show her review comments. So we can see that she has a stamp up here. We can click this box to view the comments on the stamp, but if you notice, he can't make any changes here. This information is grayed out. And we can also see the circle that she created, but we're not able to make any changes here because it's in her layer. So Liam is going to want to do some calculations. So let's estimate the square footage that's based on this project. The first thing we have to do is calibrate the document. So I'm going to click this compass tool, and now I'm going to draw this stated line of 280 feet. So when I draw the line, it asks how long that line is, and I type in 280. And when I click OK, it's calibrated our document. And now I can pick the area tool, and I'm just going to click into the corner of each of these. And then when I get back home, it's going to calculate out that square footage, and I can make it a little bit bigger for you. So it's coming up as $39.89, right? So as a reviewer, I can look at this plan set, I can calculate this out. You know what? I already noted that this was a 2,000 square foot project. So let's add a comment here. We can say square footage should be 39.89. 39.89. Now I can also make this a condition. We haven't seen conditions yet. These are different statuses that you can apply to your comments. But if you make something a condition, it's going to mark it for visibility across all staff. You can also use these to print as your conditions of approval on your permits. We have lots of options here. So I'm going to save this comment. And then let's maybe make used the circle before. Let's use an arrow and let's point it towards this 45-foot line. We're going to our common comments book, and let's pretend that this is a fence. I'm going to go to my fence and pools comments, and then let's go ahead and pick off a couple of these comments. I missed that one. And let's save these fence comments. Now you can see that there's a little red hash here, so those are included in this. So we've made a couple comments. Maybe let's change this color so you can see that we can. So now we can make that, we can change the color, we can change the outline thickness. And if we want, we can even call this fence instead of arrow, it's the arrow tool. That just helps our applicants get that additional information. All right, so now let's go ahead and save this activity or save this document. This is going to take us back to our listing. We can pretend that we'll go through the rest of those activities, but when I hit close, it's going to take all these comments and put them down on the screen here. So I can include this. Now, this is another thing that the applicant didn't include the right information on the form, and this is going to drive our fees. So I want to show you what happens if I click the save button on these comments. That's going to trigger that condition to apply. And now we have this red hand at the top of our project. This is an example of a condition. It's going to sit with this project until this condition gets cleared. So we can save this. We can go ahead and change the status of our activity. We can say resubmittal required. And the completion date here is going to be today's date. So you can run your process any way you want. If you want this to sit in this reviewer's inbox until it gets complete, if they need to work back and forth with the reviewer or with the applicant, you can do that. If they want to close this down and send it off to the applicant, you can do that. The system can accommodate all of that. Now, when I select save here, the system is going to send an automated email that says this review activity is complete. You could also, or instead, you could have the user generate their own notification like we did before. So this is just repurposed our review activity window. It's showing us the review route, and it's showing us that we have these 2 activities complete. This was the one that Morgan just completed, and here's the one that Liam just completed with our different statuses listed in the status column. Now, Liam was given another activity to do, so I want to show you this one. We've just gone through 2 review activities that were pretty standard, but if you have a checklist that your reviewers need to complete, we can build that on these forms. In this case, anything that we check off here is going to print out on the permit application. So I'm going to pick these. I'm going to leave out peer, backflow, and temporary occupancy, and I'm done with this activity. So we just give it a date and a status of complete. So this is just to show you a little bit about the review activities. We're hoping that you can see with these configurable workflows, we can set up a process that matches your current workflow. We can do concurrent, we can do consecutive, we can drive activities based on the completion of the previous activity, and there's visibility across the project so that as people come and look at us, they know whose work is pending, right, and whose is complete. So let's imagine, in fact, maybe we'll go back to the permit and let's go change that. Let's go change that square footage. And I'll show you what it does to the fees. So the applicant could go through and they could make the change on the portal, but your staff can also make this change. So if we change this square footage and we use the recalculate button, this is going to update our fees. I'm just going to click it one more time. There we go. So now our fees have increased by, a little bit more than $1,000. So we're going to imagine that all of our reviews are complete and that we're ready to approve this. Now I know that maybe this isn't how your workflow would really go. So we're going to push through the process because I want to show you how to implement issue a permit. In this case, we're going to change the status from under review to approved. That adds an approval date. And when I save this, it's going to trigger notification to the applicant. So let's go to my inbox and we'll see if that has come through. Now, there is a balance due on this permit. So when the applicant gets the email, let me see if I can pull this up. It says your permit has been approved and can be issued after final fees are paid. This is the balance due. You pay through the portal. So if I call up the applicant, or if I, as the applicant, call up staff and say, "Hey, my permit's been approved. Can you issue it?" I want to show you what happens when you try to issue a permit out of order. So this is the generate permit button. It's send letter. It's how we use to create documents. I'm going to pick the document that I want. And when I hit generate, we get this pop-up message. This is an example of a system condition. It says there's a balance due on this permit. Now this is a warning because it'll let me bypass this, but we could also set it up as a stop. So I'm going to exit out of this and I want to take a payment. We will use this add payment button. Now, this payment can also be made through the portal. You saw me do one of those payments, but let's pretend that we took a check number 1456 and the payment amount is $95.20 and 10 cents. Now, I'll save this payment. This is going to bring us down to a $0 amount. You can see a balance due of 0. Now, I'm going to go ahead and change our status to issued. That puts in our issue date and our expiration date. And I'm going to generate this document. Now, the cool thing is I've seen some, our implementation managers, you can have this set your status to issued when you generate this. Right now, here's the issue date and the expiration date. You can edit this on the fly. This has got an HTML editor in it. So if I wanted to say make this red, I can do that. And I can save, it's just going to save a change on this copy. We're happy to update those templates for you. We can also show you how to update them if that's something that you want to do. We'll go ahead and save this, and now our permit is now red. And when we save this document, it's going to save our permit project and take us to the Documents tab because we've just generated this permit card. So we have gone all the way through the approval process. I think I want to show you a couple of these tabs so you can kind of get an overview of this file. The Documents tab is going to show all of the documents that have been uploaded or generated for this. So starting at the bottom, we can see the 4 documents that were included in the application. And then we start seeing these system-generated notifications. Here, our application was received. Now, this is a staff notification because somebody wanted to be notified when a new permit was created. This is the email to the applicant that the application was received. Here's a payment was received notice to the applicant. We sent out this incomplete application notice. As we completed our activities, we got these automated notifications that were sent out. And then our status was changed from under review to issued, and then under review to approved. And then here's another status change notification. And finally, our permit card. So you get the history of all the documents on the Documents tab. If we look at the Review Route tab, you get to see the status of this review route. Now, what happens in reality is if you went through all of these review activities, it would trigger this review complete activity. Morgan could have completed this whole review route and it would have a status of under review. And I can show you that we can go into this review route and we can give it a completion date of today and a status of approved. And when we save, it's going to ask us if we want to complete these activities. Now, normally you would go through this approval process and completing this last activity would complete this review process as well. We just didn't have time for that today. So this shows you the status of all reviews, and you can have multiple reviews here. I'm hearing a little feedback. I just want to check in. Did you guys have any questions so far?
Yeah, I wanted to know if once you have issued the permit, then if you found out you had to change something on that permit, can you go back in and make the change and reissue?
You can regenerate the document, that's true. And you'll have your full history in the Documents tab.
But along with whatever change needed to be made.
Yes. So what kind of change would you say? Like, oh, the expiration date's wrong, it really needs to be something else, or?
Yeah, fees might change. What about if there's a fee change? And so they paid and we issued the permit, but now we found out that there was more fees that had to go along with that permit for whatever reason. Can we go back in, add more fees to that permit and reissue, the new receipt that shows what they paid already and now the new payment for whatever new fees we had to add?
Yeah, we absolutely can do that. You can add additional fees at any point. We'll just call this additional fee for $50, and we'll save that. Now, what I haven't shown you is how to generate an invoice, but that sounds like that might be part of your process. So you can use the system to generate an invoice. I think we have this set up as a letter. It might be set up as an email, actually. Let's check and see this list. Nope.
So you mean like sending an invoice out to a contractor or someone that wants a permit that they don't pay it online. So now we're going to maybe email them an invoice and they can send us in a check or something that we enter in later.
Yes. So I'm going to generate this email template, which is an invoice template, and I'll show you the preview of that. And this shows, so this is, we'll build your invoices to look how you want. This is the one that's set up here. So it has the little Town of Buena Vista logo, and it has the applicant information here. And then these are all the permit fees and then the payments that have come through. And then it shows the total balance due, that $50. So if I send this out, it's going to send it to the applicant, and they can either go to the portal or pay, or they can send you the check or bring it in online. But then, yes, you can regenerate that permit.
Go ahead.
Does, if the contractor comes to our window, do they have to put all their information in through the computer, or is it like they hand us their permit?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're either going to fill out some kind of a paper form and you're going to put it in, or you can put like a simple kiosk out there and kind of walk them through and sort of teach them how to fish, and they would just come.
Okay. Sorry, if we put it in, I think I heard you say that they have to like sign up or whatever, have passwords and all that.
Create an account.
Yeah, what happens if we have to create their login for them, or if we just do like a generic? How does that work?
So they have to, I mean, if you'd have to create a contact card which would be part of that permit, or be on the, I'm sorry, the contact information that would be on the permit itself for them to log in through the portal.
Got it.
Is a kiosk more money?
No, it's just you'd have to buy whatever simple, browser, simple computer. It's just a computer with a browser.
Okay.
And that would be a way for you to walk them through the process. Here,
Right.
come to our kiosk in the lobby. We can show you how to do it, and then you can do this from the comfort of your home.
I have contractor information.
What about homeowners that want to do their own work?
Whether it's garage.
And they might not be a contractor doing it.
This is, I mean, if you allow that, they could apply for that permit just like a contractor would.
Just, okay.
Yeah, we would allow it if, depending on the type of work, and also they have to attach a homeowner's exemption with them, like with the permit.
Yep, that would just be part of that permit.
Got it. Thank you.
So I guess what you're saying is we could just have a laptop out there and we can kind of walk them through it. So they can put in their own information, they can make up their own password and everything, and they can continue to fill out the permit right there instead of us getting it on a paper form from them. And then we got to walk over and fill everything out for them. We can help them learn how to do it themselves.
See, but they're not registering. The homeowner's not a registered person.
Yeah, but they'd still be able to do the.
Yeah, but
permit
they-
just without The
they
contractor
still
Why
work
would
from
they
it.
registration.
need a password or nothing? Could it be a template?
Well, because this way they can go online at home and they can check on the status of how the permit is going. Because as you guys are doing your inspections and stuff, you're going in there and filling in the information. So then they can go to the portal, look it up and say, okay, well, John inspected it and then he found this. And you can tell them, you can email them and say, well, this was wrong, you need to fix this.
I'm just talking about getting to the permit. Getting with the permit.
Yeah, it's no different than when we do it now. It's just that they're not a contractor, there's no contractor name.
And you can have a question on the applicant that says, are you the contractor performing this work, or are you the homeowner? And that can trigger different questions. So you can make sure
Right.
that you gather everything you need based on the applicant.
Okay, well, that's right, yeah, that's a good, homeowner, and then the homeowner stuff pops up.
Yeah.
And they would have a citizen or a homeowner. If you decide you want that registration type, then you could look at them and say, oh, wait, this person isn't registered as a contractor. They fill out the form. You can do those
And
checks.
you could have them pick a contractor also.
Absolutely.
So can you make it if a homeowner's doing it that they don't have, you might have just said this and I missed it, that they wouldn't have to create an account? But anybody who even goes online and pays their bills online, they have to create an account. And then they
You
keep
got
going back,
That's exactly right.
because there might be more than one thing that a homeowner wants to do, and they might want to come back to the
You got
Richmond
homeowners
account.
that want me to show them a crack on concrete. What are you talking?
Yeah, but they have to learn. What can I say? I don't know what to say. Now they can draw the crack
Yeah.
on the
Oh,
concrete.
no, that's gonna be.
They can.
It just might be difficult for some, that's all.
Well, that's with, I think that's with anything.
So do we have
For the
inspectors in the room?
Yes, we do.
You have
Okay.
3 inspectors in the room.
All right, let's get on to the real meat and potatoes. So we're going to log in as the applicant for that as me as the applicant, we want to take a look at that permit that was just issued. We're going to go view this request, and now it's issued. So I'm going to go to the issued tab, and here, sorry, I'm in business licenses. Let's go to permits, and we will look at the issued tab. And here we've got our Richmond Heights project right here. So the applicant can come to their permit, right? They've gotten these emails that says your reviews are complete, your status is updated, your permit has been approved, go pay. And we can see that there is a balance due of $50. So we can make a payment here. We'll see if we can just skip that step for time. We can see the whole permit project, right? This permit application is here on the permits tab. We see that updated square footage amount listed here. When we go to the reviews tab, the applicant gets to see the status of those reviews. Now, everything has been completed. These were all completed by the system automatically. But look, we've done some reviews and we've added some comments. So the applicant can go see those comments. This was done by Morgan Katz. These were the comments that she added. And he could also look at, wait, he is me. I can also look at the review comments activity for this other review. Now, let's go over to the documents tab because we've done markup, right? And we see the history of the documents here. On the site plan, we can see the review comments that were added on the markup tool. And here it shows us the markup itself, all of the comments or the shapes that were added, the comments on the left. And if you click a shape, then it filters to just show those comments. And we can go back to the whole page if we want to. So again, this is just a way that we want to be transparent with your constituents so they can see the status of those reviews. Now, there's still no inspections listed on this project, so let's request one. We're going to click request an inspection. Oh, look at this. This is another example of a condition. It says you can't request an inspection because there's a balance due. So let's go make a payment and we'll pay off that $50 balance.
It's not caution.
Yeah.
Let's see if I got that number right. Now we can set up these conditions in a bunch of different places in the database so that we can check for the things that you need us to check for, right? It's just done through a SQL script. So this is an example of a condition. You don't have to use it if it doesn't apply to you. So I'm going to submit this payment amount. It gives us that $50 payment. There's a $2 convenience fee. That's just to show you that those are possible. We don't add any fees here. We stay out of your relationship with your payment provider. Okay, so now we're going to go back and we're going to request this inspection. I'm going to give it a little refresh so it can update. So now when I hit that request an inspection button, I'm taken to my request form. So again, this is configurable. You can put any text you need about your inspection process. Your users can pick the inspection type they want. We'll give it today as a desired date. Now I am in West Coast time, so it's 11:30. We have a same day cutoff at 3 o'clock set in the system, but you can determine if you want to allow same day inspections or what your cutoff time is. Maybe you want it at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll pick today. Oh, another thing to note, we don't do inspections on Fridays, so Fridays are blocked out. And if we look, I don't think I have any other holidays listed. Sorry, was there a question?
No, they were just making a comment.
And then I am going to select a preferred time range, but this is an optional field. You could do AM, PM. You could not leave a time range because this is being submitted as a request. So I'm going to just put in some squirrely signature here, and then we'll submit this request. Now, this request is going to get routed to the system. We get this prompt that says it's been requested. And then on the inspection tab, we can see there's this request listed here. So we're going to jump in as Liam. I want to take you to his homepage and I'll show you his the unassigned task list. Now, you can have these routed to an individual. In this environment, it's routed to the unassigned inspections queue. So that means any inspector that has availability can go to the queue and find the project that they're looking for. Let us let's do a quick filter on the task. We're going to look at all of these footing inspections, and I believe that ours is here at the bottom. So I can use this checkbox to assign this task to myself. And And I'm going to save this. I know that we're really crunched for time, but the unassigned task list gives you an idea of all the work that's available out there. Now we've just assigned this task to ourselves, so this is going to appear on our calendar. So when we scroll down there, we can see this footing inspection for our address on Bakersfield. So the next thing that Liam's going to want to do is go out to site and do this inspection. So let's go hop in the truck and we will go out on site. I am holding an iPad Pro, but we are device and browser independent. So you could do this on your laptop. You could do this on an Android device. But this shows in landscape mode how we're still in our responsive design, right? So I'm going to scroll down to our calendar and we're going to open up this footing activity. And this is going to pull up this inspection right on our iPad. We're in the project, right? So I can access the permit tab. I can go look at the reviews. I can look at all the documents. I can pull up the markup tool and go to the site plan. But really what this inspector is going to do is open up the common comments book. These are all the footing inspection comments, but if you notice, we've got these other comment groups available. I'm going to just check off the comments that apply to this particular inspection. So it turns out there's a bunch wrong with this. So I'm going to make a bunch of comments, but there's a comment that I want to make that isn't in my library. So all I'm going to do is click add comment. And then when you're here, I could use the glass keypad to type that out, but I want to use all the tools that are available. So I'm going to use voice to text. This is a voice to text comment from Liam's iPad. And then let's go ahead and save these comments. It's going to save them down to my inspection activity. You can see those comments down here, including that voice to text. Now, we can also load photographs in the system. Now, the system has a camera on there, so I can take pictures from my device, but I'm going to show you how to attach photos. Like if you've been walking the site and you've taken a bunch of photos, you can go select files and go into your photo library. And let's take a picture. We'll upload that footing document. And we'll save this. So we've just walked the site. We've made a bunch of comments. Sorry, go ahead.
How much stock memory do you have in those photos things? Because sometimes we generate, I'm talking serious amounts of photos.
Yeah, you can save as much data as you want. We don't charge you any difference. So it's unlimited how much you store.
Is video okay on that too?
Yep.
I mean, you do video as well?
Yep.
No, we have some situations where a video is better than a picture, like a leaky gutter or something.
Right.
Where you can't really take that picture, you gotta actually watch the waterfall. Okay, I just wanted to know, that's all.
So the next thing for us to do is to, oh, go ahead. Did I hear another
I
question?
don't know, there was no other question. Might be a
It's my
delay.
feedback, right? That's exactly what it is. So I want to issue my inspection report, but I want to complete my activity first. So I'm going to pick today's date and we'll pick our status. I'm not going to fail them, but they're not ready. So let's pick my email template. And this is going to pull up my template selector. And I'm going to pick my inspection report. And then I can address it to the applicant. Now, if I wanted to add attachments, I can do that. And I'm going to pick the photo that pops up. And now let's go ahead and send this review activity. Or this inspection report. So that's going to send that report off to the applicant. And what you may not have noticed is that my screen just popped up because I entered this completion date. The system can send these inspection reports automatically. So if you have a high volume of inspection reports, you can just have the system generate it when you complete the activity. In this case, we sent off that notification so you can see what that looked like. And now the last thing for us to do is to generate a follow-up activity, right? This is not ready. So let's add a new footing inspection. So I click that calendar icon, and now all I need to do is give it a date and a time. Oh, interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and save this activity. I'm going to have to make a little note of this.
Uh-oh, you found a glitch.
I
Uh-oh.
think so. This is beta testing, baby. This is really fun too, to be
Beta test.
live and be like, oh, ha, ha, ha. So what this generally does is it creates a new activity for you on your task list so that you don't have to think about doing it, right? Just clicking that button and hitting save would do that. But let's just go back to that inspections tab and we'll see what we can find. This is what the footing inspection looks like when it's been completed, right? So we see the assigned to, the permit number, the due date, the completion date, and our status of not ready. And then it's included a bunch of our comments from this inspection activity so we can see right there at a glance. Now, if we were able to get that additional inspection to load, let's see if I can just add one from the left, then you'd get to see the inspection history. We're just gonna all right, I'm going to just bail on this since it's not adding an inspection here, but we have completed this inspection activity and now it's time to return to the office. Now, you would get your whole history of all these activities. This is the one that we just completed, so we can go look at the project online and we'll see if that is a symptom of my my tablet or if I can do an inspection activity here. There is my inspection activity. So I'm going to pick footing. And I wonder if it's a timing delay. We're just not getting dates up here. All right.
Does it result before you get back to the office? I mean, it has to, right?
Does it? So this is browser based, right? This is all up in the cloud. I got some feedback. Sorry. Did I understand your question correctly?
I think what John's saying is the result is, it's real-time results. He results it in the field. When he gets back to the office, he can see the results on his desktop.
Absolutely.
Or not have to.
We're not even have to look, right? Which is nice.
That's the point of the laptop in the field.
Right, you don't
Right
even have to
now.
look.
That's how we did it.
Yeah.
So those results that are showing up there, so suppose John's still out in the field
You can see them.
doing inspections and we get a phone call
You can see 'em.
from one of the, one of the contractors or a homeowner. They want to know if the inspection was done. What did he say? And maybe he's not even there that day. Maybe they called the day after he was there. Can we email those straight from there? I assume we can, right to the contractor or the homeowner, the results from that inspection.
So you could go to the documents tab and you can say, here's that inspection report. Let's take a look at who it was mailed to. So you just click on it and it's going to open up that email. And you'll say, this was emailed to misha@citizenserve.com yesterday at 11:43. If you need me to resend it, I can do that. You can just, send an email and attach that notification.
Oh, that's
that
right.
inspection
We don't even have to get the phone call because they're already going to have it in their email.
That's true, but you can resend it, or if you have a homeowner that wants it, you can add the.
Now, does John, so suppose John did the inspection, does he have to do a certain thing to make that notification go over to the contractor or homeowner, or is that automatic as soon as he finishes up his inspection?
It can be either way. We actually have, we sent this one manually, this inspection report that's highlighted, but the system actually sent this one when we completed the activity. So it's double duty in my system, but it's to demonstrate that it's possible. You get to pick one or the other, or both if you want. But.
Okay.
So here I use the send email button and I pick this email communication, which is sort of a blank template. I'm addressing it to the person that wants that email, that report sent again. And then I've picked that activity because it wants to use the data from an activity. So I picked that footing inspection and now I can add an attachment. This is going to pull up my whole documents list and I can include this inspection report email. And when I click attach, it's going to include that and I can send that again. And that was included. So let's see if that comes through to my inbox. And so then here is that inspection report, although this one was from 11:43. So this was the original one that we sent manually with that attachment included. And let's see where that, here we go. No. And this is the one that we, sorry, this one was dated 11/43. This was the system generated one. It didn't include the attachment. But wait, after the delay in my email, here's one that we sent at 11:49, and it has that HTML inspection report included. So this was the attachment. So let's open this and we'll see what it looks like. Ta-da! So I've shown you system generated emails. I've shown you manual emails with attachments, and then we resent that initial attachment. So yes, we want to help you notify your constituents. And we will close this down. Okay, so it is 11:49. We have about 10 minutes left, and we have gone through the process of showing you one inspection. Now, the life cycle of a permit from our perspective is a permit is eventually going to close down, right? You'll have all of the work inspected. It will all eventually be approved, hopefully, and then it'll be time to retire that permit or final it. So we can do that in the system by opening up this permit. And then we can give it a closed date, and we can issue a certificate of occupancy. Whatever your process is, like some jurisdictions have their applicants apply for that certificate of occupancy as its own permit. It goes through a whole review process. You can do that, or you can set it up to just allow you to change the status to finaled. That adds the close date here, and then we can generate that certificate of occupancy. And again, this is stuff that we work through with you during your implementation process. So we ask you what your process is. We have you upload your existing documents. We assign you an implementation manager. We meet with you weekly. We build stuff for you. We show it to you. Let's do the certificate of occupancy. And then you give us feedback so that we can get it right. So this is an example certificate of occupancy. Again, this is editable on the fly if you need to. We're going to just save it, and it's going to take us back to the Documents tab. So we have gone through in an hour and a half the permit process, but I want to show you how this same process applies to our other modules. So we're going to kick out to another environment. This is our test environment, and this is the old version, right? This is what our customers are currently on. Anybody that signs up from now on is going to be on the new release. So this still has our tabs across the top. Now this is the Canyon Creek Commercial Center. It's a 9-phase commercial construction project. So this is what a zoning or planning and zoning permit looks like. It's still using the permit project, which means you have the online application through the portal. You can take payments through the portal, and you can have a workflow route assigned. The cool thing about planning and zoning is that you can have as many review routes as possible. And the reason we like to show you this project is that with each of the phases, this is the review tab. This is showing you the route and all the steps in that route. So if I shrink all the routes, you can see how many review routes this has gone through. On this project too, there are 2 different permits. There is the final plat that has this final plat review. And if I expand it, you get to see that. And then there's the site plan. And that has been through all of these 9 phases. So with Citizenserve, you get to track all of your different review routes. We went through in the planning and the building department permit a really little teeny bit of a review route. But here you can see that you can assign these tasks to different departments, different users. Each of them has their own status. We have a due date and a completion date, and we can track your run rate. So this review was done in 21 days. This was done in 25 days. This one hasn't been completed yet, so it says 0 days, but it's really not 0 days. They just didn't complete it. So we can track all of this for each of your reviews. And we know that with planning and zoning, you also need to schedule and track your meetings. So I want to point out in this first review route, they have this development review committee meeting. You can, and I've opened this on the other tab. The reason I'm working in tabs is that my test software, the test server is a little bit slower than our production server, so it's faster if I preload everything. So when they go to these review committee meetings, they take this activity, they open up the project and they type in the notes. We can also take this information and we can put it into your agendas or create minutes documents. And so I'm going to take you out to the web to Barefoot Bay. Florida. They are a deed restricted community, and they've got this architectural review control committee. They use Citizenserve for their projects, and they post their agendas online. These agendas are generated from within Citizenserve. So this report has, this basic header information with the address. This is the agenda, the date of their meeting, the time. This is their standard process, and then, or this is the agenda, and then this is the work. That's in Citizenserve. So this is old business, this is new business, and they just pull this right out of the database. And so we can support you in getting your setup to do that too. So
And you can do ZBA, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No, that's fine.
planning commission as well?
Yes, we can set up any meeting that you need.
Right.
And if you need to track data, like we can create those custom fields on the activity as well.
Then you can create access for specific board members to have access to that, or would they have to have a full use of your software? Like say we have a board, right? We have the ARB board. Do they need to buy a module for them to access those docs, or is it kind of like on a OneDrive or a?
No, if you want someone to access it in Citizenserve, they'd have to have a user account. Now, if it's just a read-only account like that, and if you're okay with it, they can share those credentials. Whereas like in a normal account for someone who's going to be, doing activities and completing activities, that kind of thing, you can only be logged in at one device at a time. But we can set that one up so that multiple people could be logged in if you're okay with them using the same credentials.
Yeah, well, it's just easy to transfer all the documentation, including the meeting minutes. I mean, we've been using OneDrive all because of COVID now. Works really good. It's a permanent database and they have a historical record that needs the ARB members, board members, or the planning commission members, so they can do a look back on everything that we've reviewed. So it would be kind of nice. I don't really want them editing. They're not.
No, it would be read only. It could be read only.
Right, and we could have one generic, because I don't want them using the actual system that a building inspector would use for fear that they would wander around. You get what I'm saying? I just don't trust people digital. It's too easy to press delete.
Yeah, no, they would not be able to. All they could do is read.
Okay.
And stay within one area, like the meeting area,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they would have.
right?
Would they have access to all of the inspections, or would they just have access to one particular area, like architectural review board, for example?
It depends on how we set that up as a department.
Okay. What does that mean exactly? What do you mean? How do you set that up as a department?
Well,
we have.
So if somebody has access to the department, they can see everything within that department. They can do certain things or not. In this case, it would be read only. So if that's like a planning and zoning department, they would be able to see everything in that department, but they wouldn't be able to do anything. But we can't set it up so they can't, if they look at a file, you can't see the inspections, but you could see, the file information.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Liam. He has access to the administrative role. So I can show you the roles that are set up for the building department. So if we look at this building view only role, you can see how we can assign these users. So this lists all the departments we can assign this role to. So all of these users can be assigned that. But then for file permissions, in the building department, they only have the ability to view files. They can't modify or delete a permit. They can't delete a whole project. They can't edit anything closed, edit anything completed, but these are the different sort of slices of access that they have. They're not able to modify any contact permissions, right? This is person permissions, and they don't have any management permissions assigned. So we can create a role for the planning, got the name of that reviewing department, the architectural review committee, the ARC, or whatever you have, and they can be given view rights.
And I imagine there's an automatic audit trail on everything.
There is. If you wanted, let's see. So this is the history file on this Canyon Creek Center phase. So you can see, You're able to filter by date. So if you had a certain date in mind that you were looking for, you could do that. If you were looking for an event, let's see what we've got. I don't have any payment activities. So you can see when activities were updated. All of these are updated. You can also see when activities were deleted. So Kimberly Brenneman deleted an activity on 6/24. So that will log that something happened, and we can do further research on that. You can see when contacts are added. So you can search by event or look for all. And then you could also search by user. So if you wanted to see, well, show me what Tom Cooper did, you get to see everything that he did.
Can you tell us, approximately just from what you've done already, what the normal or seemingly normal learning curve time is? Going from like Franklin into Citizenserve.
It's going to depend a little bit, like the people that are part of our weekly walkthrough meetings. I mean, they're going to get it very quickly. People who haven't, like inspectors, we're going to do training for them, and training's unlimited. So if we do a training session and someone still doesn't get it, we're going to do another training session with them, and there's no additional charge for that. I mean, we want to make sure that you guys are trained. We're just going to rely on you to let us know if someone isn't comfortable, and if they're not, we'll walk through the areas that they're struggling with them through again.
How slow are you permitted to be? Just a joke. I mean, I bet you guys have walked and held hands with several people through this process.
Yeah.
So most
I
of
think
us
you'll find it's pretty intuitive, that people get it.
Yeah, it can't be any more difficult than Franklin, quite frankly. I mean, that's kind of that's a little difficult animal to use, I think, for most people that come into that kind of old DOS system. This is a totally different type of system, which looks, to me, it looks pretty user friendly.
Yeah, actually,
right?
yeah.
I mean, you think, guys?
Yeah, it shows a lot of data.
Yeah, and
it's easy to get, and a lot of it is automatically downloaded, like GIS, county information. That's a pain in the ass. Do you have taxes? I mean, how deep in detail do you go for the county download? Do you tell how many taxes are, I mean, what do they download specifically for the county data?
So maybe
just the address?
No, we're gonna. I mean, the basic stuff we're gonna get is, the address. We're gonna get the parcel number. We're gonna get the owner. We're gonna get the owner address. But any other attributes that the county has, we'll create custom fields. Anyone that you want, and if they carry it, we'll bring that in.
Right, like building valuation, something like that.
Yeah, number of stories, year built, whatever they carry.
Okay, no, that sounds good.
What's great about this too is that, like, when we go into the database and to find one of the contractors or something to see what's going on, all that we have come up is what went on on that certain date. Do you know what I mean? We don't get all of the extra from the beginning to the end of full process, the inspection, popping over to see that in all the inspections and all that stuff. I mean, that takes.
Yeah, it takes a lot
of time. Yeah, I like it.
So far, so good, guys.
Right now, we've just scratched the surface, though, because we just really talked about the permitting process and planning and zoning. So we know that you're interested in contractor registration. Since you're charging a fee, we would do that as a business license. We would still call it a contractor registration. Plus, we know you do rental registrations and you have occupancy tax. So we have modules to show you all of this information. Now, we do want to remind you that we have lots of information under the live demos tab, so you can find information about all of these separate things by clicking links. We have some.
Now, the property maintenance violation, we have a letter that we use. It's pretty heavy. I mean, it's pretty good, actually. And it's got all the code information in there. It's all the correct numbers, and we kind of took a shortcut. It's just easier than instead of plugging in every damn code item, right? So if I give you a 17-page letter with all these different code items in there, how would that letter come out on an inspection? We currently shortcut Franklin. So we run this letter out, the big letter, got 17 pages on it, and we basically delete everything we don't use. And we do a violation, it's called C street folder, right? Because it's a paper file, because it's big. So if we were to do a property maintenance letter, how could we incorporate, and maybe Bev will send you one of our letters and see how that would get incorporated into your system. for
Yeah,
property
can you show like a letter template, how that works?
Like the administrative side, or just how to generate?
No, just like, yeah, the administrative side, how you add a field, or just show them how that, we can pull any field that's in the database into a letter.
Let me see if this, so I just logged in as our code user, Lucas. So I will show you a code enforcement letter. Oh, this will be a custom table, sorry. So remember how I told you I had 3 coffees, Ray?
Yes.
It didn't help. It didn't help. I'm falling asleep here, sorry. And we actually do need to go into a lookup table for our letters, sorry. Forms and letters. So we can set up your code enforcement process. I'll show you this notice of violation. So this is just the HTML editor. So you're going to get the logo and the town and this notice, this certified mail number. This will be entered in by the inspector. The parcel numbers pulled in as a database element. So anything you see in brackets is going to be populated by the system or the activity. But you can, if we give you a template that pulls in only the active stuff, then that saves you the hassle. So this is what this looks like. But if we go to his homepage and I run this report on a case that has, say, this is a case file where we've got some violations listed, I think. Yeah, so we've got this one open violation. We can go to this reinspection activity and we can just make it part of the process. So on our reinspection activity, we can generate this letter. And when we pick that notice of violation we were just looking at, we're able to upload photos. I don't actually know if we have any, but let's see. Oh, we do. Look at this. So these were taken by the inspector. They're available in the system, so we can include that debris. And then this is the certified mailing number. So I'm just going to type it in. This is called a letter variable. So if you need to collect a license number, or if you have to enter a hearing date and you're doing that at the time you generate the letter, this is how you can enter that. And now when we generate, this is going to take the template and pull in our details. So now this has got the homeowner information. This is the owner and this is the address. And then here's that violation that we added to the system. And then here's that photo that we uploaded about this debris that's been left. So we can save this to file, but you could edit this on the fly if you needed to also. Sorry, I didn't show that step. We sort of looked at that earlier. And so this, I was already in this case. So this is the second notice of violation that we've created here, but you get a history of all these documents that get saved.
Right. I guess what I'm getting at more specifically is that can we merge together 3 violations on one letter, like relevant, right? So let's say you have littering, right? You have a dumpster enclosure that's failed, right, or not correct. You have mattresses that are out there not covered or not wrapped. Can we put like 4 violations on one letter?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, those letters, we can pull anything that's in Citizenserve into that letter, and we just specify that variable name and where it goes into that letter.
So what do you, Citizenserve is based on International Property Maintenance Code?
Whatever code that you want, that's what we'll enter into Citizenserve.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes things a lot easier.
But we don't maintain a subscription, so there's copyright, components to that, but so we don't, like own a subscription to that. It's got to be got off of your subscription.
Yeah, no, we have, and I mean, we get every book. I mean, that's what we have. We don't have a subscription to internet.
If you get a book, if you get a book, you have a subscription. That's
right. That's what I wanted to make sure they qualify.
That's the copyright.
Yep, we've got it.
So I just added a couple
Yeah,
more
you can
violations. So now there are 3. All of these will get pulled into to that letter.
For one letter.
Mm-hmm. You can have as many as you need. So I'm just going to go into this activity to do it. And we
Then
will
you
do
can
it.
write it our way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some of the things, and maybe Bev can send you our letter of that exterior. Because
Mhm.
we got it written pretty heavy, and it's hard for inspectors to write that kind of stuff. I mean, they have the ability to edit it, right? If, to kind of make it fit, but the general language is there. And when Bev shows you the letter, you'll know what I'm talking about. Some of it gets a little bit wordy. And I know that Franklin had character limits on things,
Oh.
it would just, writing
This
it
is just
just
through
shut off.
HTML. No.
Yeah,
Well, so our fields, like the comments field, this is set and this may have a character limit, but if you decide you need more than that, we just change the field type to an extra long
Okay.
text or something. So, so instead of just taking my word for this, like this would be good if you need a code violation module, that we should do a code demo so you can see the availability, because we want your inspectors to go in and cite violations. And then when those violations get abated, they can track that in the system. And then you know exactly what's open on a particular case, and we can do this notice of violation, we can assign fees, you can do citations. There's lots of functionality here in code. This was our first module. Doing code for a long time.
yeah. No, it looks good. I'm not sold completely yet. We want to see the whole demo. But
Right?
so far, it's good.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, so should we have Ray send out more dates for
Yeah, maybe
near the end of the
that'd be a
week?
good idea. Let's do
Well,
a
if
follow-up.
everybody is here, do you guys want to just pick a time?
Oh, sure.
Well,
Maybe-
now everybody's not here.
Yeah, everybody's not here. Our fire inspector had to go on an inspection, and John had to go on an inspection. Plus, we gotta see what my schedule is. You gotta get into the office. I think it'd be better that
Like
Bev do
Monday,
that
Tuesday.
tomorrow or later
Well,
on
the
this
next-
afternoon. Cause you gotta look at my calendar. I don't know what my
Yeah,
calendar is.
I'll send some dates that were available.
Yeah, that would work out good, and then we'll just do it in our office. Probably have something back to you early morning, 10 o'clock, by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tomorrow.
I'm sorry, say that one more time?
We'll have an answer back by 10:30, 11 o'clock tomorrow, if you can send us your available times, because then we.
So what time period do you want our availability for?
I think that 1 o'clock is probably good.
I mean,
Well,
for like the rest of this week or next week?
1:15 for next week, I would think. No, guys?
Okay, so I'll just send you our availability for all of next week. Does that work?
That sounds good.
Yeah, that's good. Send us your availability, then we'll check.
We'll check everybody.
Perfect.
I'm available every day, but.
Oh, that's the one day I am available. Well, Tuesday afternoon.
That's good. Tentatively do the 27th.
You gotta check my schedule, because I don't know what's on there. And I've got a lot of things on there.
Okay. But we'll tentatively.
Tuesday afternoon is like the only day because I'm taking Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. My brother's Wednesday, Thursday.
So let's see, we'll check the schedule again Tuesday.
Maybe
If
Tuesday.
Or maybe the following week. Maybe it's best to do it 2 weeks from now. What do you think? Can you just do the availability 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, I could do the next 2 weeks if that works for you.
Probably would be better.
The week of the 26th and the week of the 2nd.
We can second, I'm off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We could do Thursday, everyone's around, and we'll check your schedules.
Yeah. Yeah, let's try the second week and we'll let you know tomorrow.
Okay, the week of the 2nd, of August 2nd, right?
Yep. Preferably Thursday would be probably the strong day.
I'll send the whole week.
1:15.
I'm out that day, Ray.
Oh,
Okay.
The week of the 2nd, I got family in town. I haven't seen him since before COVID.
Yeah, so she's out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I just saw that of that week.
that week, but we could do Monday, Tuesday. Or the week of the 9th. That
Yeah,
Wednesday.
well, I'll say do the week of the 19th, what we're available that, I'm sorry, the week of the 26th, the 2nd, and the 9th, and the 9th. And then you guys can kind of choose from that.
Okay, maybe we can, maybe we can try to get it. If we can all come up with a, well, I don't know. Doesn't sound like.
You know, if you could check Tuesday, the 27th, and then the week of the 9th. If you give us your availability, then we'll get back to you.
Okay, Tuesday, the 27th.
27th, yeah. You're here, right, Beth?
Yeah, I can do that.
We just have to check Jim's schedule.
Well, I have an appointment in the morning with the dentist, but I can be here by 1:15. My appointment's at 10. Okay.
Right, Ray's going to send those dates. We appreciate your time today. We're excited to show you more of what Citizenserve can offer.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Okay, have a good day.
You too.
Too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks all.
We're gonna be interested like in the business act and the rentals, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of,
I think they just
a lot of
closed
other items.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got that down, Misha?
That's contractor registration, business acts, rentals, codes for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.